Today in our 2010 Ford F350 Super Duty, we're going to be installing B&W's turnover ball underbed gooseneck hitch. Part number BWG NRK 1108. This gooseneck hitch is going to allow you to hook up your gooseneck trailer and haul it behind your truck. The ball that comes with it can be removed and inserted upside down, stowing it away, being nice and flush so you have full access to your truck bed as if it wasn't there. Your safety chains are spring-loaded and pulled down snug against the bed of the truck so as to stay out of the way, but when you need them, they simply pop up and they're ready for use. Additionally, the system can be used with B&W's Companion, so you can put a fifth wheel insert in here and haul your fifth wheel trailer as well. Located on our driver's side, we'll have our release handle for our ball. You simply let it go inward to lock your ball into place, and when you need to take it out, flip it over, replace it with a different size, you simply pull it out, push it to the side, and that'll hold it in place so you can make your adjustments and then lock it back down. It's also spring-loaded, so whenever you pull on it, you can ensure it's going to pull back in place as a safety measure. We'll begin our installation under the rear of the vehicle. You want to make sure you lower down your spare tire so you have enough room to work, as well as lower down your exhaust. We'll then lower down our exhaust. You're going to use a 10mm socket to remove both the bolts holding in your rear hanger here. There's going to be one here on the inside of the frame. And then next we're going to need to lower down our exhaust here in front of the axle by removing the large exhaust hanger there. We're just going to pry that off using a pry bar. And this will give us some more room to work. Then we're going to remove the heat shield located above our exhaust. So just pull this down out of the way. Now we'll refer to our instructions and mark our truck bed accordingly. So we've got it all measured out here. Start by drilling a pilot hole. You can use a 1/4-inch drill bit to do this. We're then going to switch to a 4-inch hole saw. And what I like to do, if you've got a spray and bed liner, is to actually start the hole saw backwards, just to cut through the spray and bed liner. Once you've just marked it by going backwards, we can then go forward. Then we'll take some clear spray paint to just cover that up to help prevent against corrosion. Next, we're going to slide our rails in. We're going to start with the rear rail. You'll know it's the rear because it'll have a notch on both edges on one side, and that one is going to go towards the passenger side. So we're going to just try and slide it in there. If it won't fit, you may need to cut a small notch in the sheet metal located there. Well, we made our little mark where our rail was hitting, so we're going to just cut a notch out of that with our cutoff wheel. We'll then slide our rail into position. Once you've got both your rear and your front rail slid in, you're going to want to separate those. We're going to bring our rear rail towards the back of the vehicle. And we're just going to leave our front rail where it's at. Next, we'll take our clamp bracket. We're going to put that around the frame. Once you've got your clamp bracket around the frame, we can then slide our side bracket between our clamp bracket. You want to make sure that the side bracket goes behind the bottom portion of your clamp between the frame, and then on the top you want to make sure that the stud from the clamp bracket goes through your side bracket. We'll then place a lock washer and a nut on the stud from our clamp bracket. We'll then take the spacer that comes in our kit. It's going to go between the side bracket and the frame. I'm going to feed that up. Then we're going to take the largest bolt that comes in the kit. That's going to go through the side bracket, the spacer, and the frame. On the back side, we're going to place a flat washer, lock washer, and nut on that bolt. Then we'll take the brass bolt that comes in the kit, place a flat washer on it, slide it through the clamp bracket, then into our side bracket, and follow that up with a lock washer and a nut. We'll now repeat all these same procedures on the opposite side. Now we'll lift our center section into place. You want to make sure on the bottom here that you've got your release handle on the driver's side. We're just going to line that up with the hole. Now we'll hold our center section in place. You want to take one of your bolts with a flat washer on it, slide it through your rail, and on the other side you want to follow that up with a lock washer and a nut. We're going to repeat that for all the remaining holes in our rail to our center section. We'll then place our bolt through our clamping bracket and side plate bracket. Follow that with a lock washer and a nut. And don't forget to put the bolts on the outside of the vehicle frame through your cross members into the side plates. That's just going to be a bolt from the inside out, followed by a flat washer, lock washer, and nut. We can then go back and tighten down all of our hardware. We're going to use a 3/4 socket and wrench to tighten everything down, except for the large bolts that go through the side of the frame rail. Now torque all of your hardware to the specifications found in your instructions. Next, we're going to drill out the holes for our safety chain loops. You want to use a 1/2-inch drill bit, and then we'll use our center section holes as a pilot. We want to use the inside set of holes. And we're going to repeat this for the remaining 3 holes. And we're going to clear coat those again just to protect that from corrosion. We can then drop our U-bolts right down the frame. On our U-bolt, we're going to take the springs that come in the kit, slide that up over the bolt, and place a locking nut on the other side. We're going to repeat that for the other part of our U-bolt here and the other U-bolt on the other side. Next, we'll tighten our lock nuts down just until they're flush with the bottom of the U-bolt. We're going to use a 19mm socket to tighten them down. We'll then slide our handle in from the outside, making sure to go through the opening in our center section. We'll then take one of the larger carriage bolts that come in the kit. We're going to slide it through our center section and then through the handle. On the other side, we're going to place a flange nut. We'll then tighten that down with a 1/2-inch wrench. Next, we'll be reinstalling our exhaust. You will get some hardware that's included with your kit to help lower the exhaust down to increase clearance so it doesn't come into contact with your new gooseneck. Our customer has an aftermarket exhaust system installed that changed its geometry, so we won't be installing these components. But this bracket here and this hardware would allow you to drop down the rearmost bracket that we removed. And the frontmost bracket, these are some spacers. You can take out the nuts and drop that bracket down as well. And now we can reinstall our exhaust. Now you can reinstall your spare tire and you're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of B&W's turnover ball underbed gooseneck trailer hitch on our 2010 Ford F350 Super Duty.